Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. I'm just gonna give it a couple of more seconds here. I've got my computer going as well too. If you were around for this afternoon's chat, you could see how that all ended up. I'm hoping that I've taken care of stuff on that side of things, but let me mute my stupid voice in the background there. I hope I've taken care of things. I spent a bunch of time doing some digging, and hopefully we don't get any fucking jackoffs in the comments, because yeah, that ain't any fun for anybody. So it's Sunday. We had our chat this afternoon. It was myself, Damien, and Larasa. We had it here a couple of hours. I think we ended up going today. Lots of stuff. I read an absolute shit ton this week. So why don't we just get right into it, and then we'll see how things go. I also handed out a bunch more wrenches today as I was going and doing things. So if you show up in the chat, hello, Loading the Cannon. If you show up in the chat and you see that when you speak, your name is blue with a wrench, that means that you can help me sort of moderate some of that chat. I think the limitations on it are, yes, you have a wrench, Colin, yeah. So I think what can happen is if there's a comment of spam that comes up, if you hit the three dots on the right of that person's comment, I'm not sure the options that it gives you. I don't think it gives you, as kind of moderators out there, I don't think it gives you the ability to actually block somebody, but you can, I think, put them in the timeout. And I think you can mute them or something like that. So I would love it. I trust you guys. I would love it if you could kind of help me with that kind of stuff. Like I said, I do have my laptop running this as well. So if things get out of control, then I can block them myself since I'm the owner of the account. So hopefully that all works out. Donald Rex, if you are watching this, I couldn't figure out how to... I'm hoping I accidentally blocked Donald Rex when I was cleaning things up on my phone, trying to block accounts and things like that, because my goddamn fat fingers in this small screen. So I'm hoping that if you do see this, I'm still trying. I'm going to try after the stream is over to make sure that that's rectified. Again, that was an absolute mistake. Please don't take it in any other way than I fucked up. So anyway, now with all of that out of the way, let's get into some fun stuff that I read this week. I'm going to start off, as usual, I'm going to start off with a bunch of the stuff that I already talked about this afternoon. These first couple, I don't have a ton to say about, so we'll kind of start there and we'll dig into it. Wow, cool. Maybe you can see the sticker there. There's the Wow Cool sticker. They posted, I follow them on Twitter, and they posted every once in a while they do a couple posts just reminding people, hey, we exist, we've got a bunch of indie comics. They posted that they had a couple of earlier issues of Crooked Teeth by Nate Doyle. I always want to call him Nate Hayden. Nate Doyle is the creator on this one. So I jumped on him right away. I just figured that I would never, because Nate himself doesn't even have these early issues up for offer. So I figured I'd jump on those. So I grabbed these, and I grabbed the final issue of Jim Woodring's Jim series volume 2. These were great. I love all of his stuff. I get a real kick out of it. I think his storytelling is improving with the newer issues. It's really well displayed here as well. I think this was 2008, if I remember from the chat this afternoon. Yeah, 2008 was when this one came out. So this one, the gaps between issues, this one was only 4 months of gap between issue number 2 and issue number 3. I think it's then a year between issue number 3 and issue number 4. One of the things that he starts in here, and he talks about it in his write-up, is starting to explore kind of more long-form storytelling. And this first part of the story is a silent comic. And I really, really love it. I love, again, like one of the things that we've talked about, Colin and myself, by ourselves, and also I think I've talked about on the channel here, is one of the things that I love about 80s comics and some of these independent comics is you can follow these artists and writers as their skills start to develop throughout this. So seeing him start to tackle and start to think about long form writing and kind of apologize up front for some of it, because he says a friend of his, a female friend of his, read this and kind of had said that, you know, this is potentially like, you know, doesn't shine the most positive light on females, and he's very apologetic. And I think probably like a lot of people feel when they first start writing and put their stuff out there, his intention isn't to offend people or piss people off. It's to explore storytelling. And this so happens, I didn't see it myself, but what do I know? I'm just one person. I thought it was a great first stab at it. And then he includes, I'm assuming, the kind of thing that was in issue 1 and 2 of this is some sketchbook stuff and some sort of very mini comics, like one pagers. He plays in a band. He plays drummers in a band. Yeah, well, clearly, there you go. Diary says so right there. I can't remember the name of the band off the top of my head, but yeah, amazing stuff. I really, really like this guy. And then issue number 4, a little bit of a thicker one, and we get a full color kind of watercolor cover here on the front and the back. And these are two characters, the two main characters from our kind of continuing story through this. I don't know. I'm guessing that it only lasted one more issue, because I'm pretty sure it's 6, 7, 8, and 9 that I have after this. So yeah, this one is summer of 2009. And again, with his write up at the beginning, just kind of saying hello and write me letters. His style is kind of reminiscent of Tyler Crook-ish to me. I really like the kind of sketchiness to it. And I think I think he's a great creator. I don't know much else. I did send him an email a couple of months ago just to say, hey, I'm loving your stuff. Keep it up. Nothing big. I'm curious to see what else he's done and where he goes from here, because yeah, big fan. So there you go. That's Crooked Teeth 3 and 4 from Nate Doyle. Nate Doyle. Where did I put that? There we go. We'll talk about this next. Kind of the surprise read of the week, I think, for me, was Lance Stanton, The Wayward Warrior, from Hammock Publications. I think I said, what did I say this morning? 89? Yeah, 89. So this is put out by the Power Comics guys and Floating World. I remember when this came out, super appealing. The cover and what little bit of art I did see, I didn't see a ton of art, was pretty appealing to me. But that price tag, honestly, kind of kept me away from it. And I just assumed that I wouldn't find any here in town. Not that we don't get Floating World stuff from time to time. We don't get all of it. So this is one that I got at 204 Comics, pardon me, last weekend in their cheap bins. I think it was $1 or $2 or something like that. So dramatically less than the $6.99 US price tag. And I gotta say, I fucking loved this book. I thought it was an absolute blast. It was a real surprise. This, again, I couldn't tell you the first goddamn thing about the story off the top of my head here. Sorry, let's get credits that I didn't do this afternoon. Jim McNaughton, story, art and letters, Dave Bamford, and then editor Kathy Mays. So there's only one issue of this that came out. And like I said, because I had such low expectations for this one, I thought for sure that I just wouldn't I don't know, I just didn't expect it to work as well as it did. And one of the things that I found really fascinating with this, I'll show the same panel that I showed this afternoon. These 3 panels rather, is when it really sank into me that, holy crap, I'm really seeing something special here. Someone that's dipping their toes into a whole bunch of different areas. I referenced Guy Peel Arts this afternoon. there's sort of that kind of pop art type of thing going with those panels, especially the crack and the pow there. Those were the standout ones. When I got to this page and saw this stuff here, that's when I became a convert to Lance Stanton. I'd love to find an original of this just to see what it looked like in its original form. Obviously, this has a nice kind of heavier stock textured cover. The paper is going to be a little bit higher quality. And then the bonus in this is just every single page, the poses on these guys, the movement throughout the page, the kind of action on the pages. It really just an absolute blast of a book. So the bonus with this is that they'd gotten in touch with the artist, and he had drawn a few pages for what was going to be the second issue that never came out. So they include that in the back here. Like, look at this Kirby space in the background and Kirby-ish type technology, you know, maybe although not quite up to that level, still fucking amazing. So I'll flip to the back quickly. There you go. Beautiful. Amazing stuff, dude. Let me flip to the back here. So we also get an ad for a Lance Stanton shirt. And then there's a bit of a write-up here as well from the Power Comics guys. Just talking about the book itself. And then finally, we get some art from what was going to be the second issue. And again, that's amazing stuff right there. So, you know, I'd recommend this one. I would absolutely recommend this one. If you can get your hands on a copy, give it a shot. Even more so if you can get your hands on a cheap copy. And if you're lucky enough to find the original 1989 published book, I wouldn't hesitate. You're obviously not going to get these extras, but you're still going to get a real fun comic. There we go. And then one of the original ads, I think. Yeah, must be, right? There's the Hammock Publications right there. Does it say where Hammock was based out of? Doesn't. I mean, it says Hamilton/McNaughton Publishing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was Hamilton, Ontario. But it doesn't say, so I'll have to check that out afterwards, actually. So there you go, Lance Stanton. Yeah, I mean, the Power Comics guys keep the stuff coming, you know, like keep this shit going, because I'm just curious to see. I've watched their channel, not religiously, but I've watched a whole bunch of videos on their channel, and they have shown off some really, really great books over the time I've been watching. So I'm sure they've got more up their sleeves coming soon. So when I placed the order to Wow Cool, the other thing that I got just to kind of fill the cart up a little bit more is I saw that they had issue number 6 of Jim Volume 2. And that was the last issue that I needed to complete my run of Volume 2 of Jim after all of these years. And I mean, I watched the documentary. What am I going to do here? I'm going to do this. I watched the documentary again with my son just the other day. Was it this weekend or was it last weekend? I don't remember. Recently, we watched the documentary together. Revisiting it, it was really great to see again. I think it's like the 3rd time I've seen the documentary, if I'm honest. And watching it with him was really great. Just again, like watching stuff with my son at this stage where he's really immersed himself in art and music and things. So kind of getting his perspective on some of the stuff and seeing it again through his eyes, where I can kind of let go of my history with a creator like this a little bit, is also kind of fun. And it's the same thing that happens with music when we end up listening to music that if he finds it himself or I play something for him, it's great to kind of let go of some of that stuff and sort of try to hear it again for the first time, and see what kind of impact it has now compared to back then. I find Jim's stuff still has the impact that it had on me when I first discovered it. I've told the story before with LaRasa and Damien, but his first volume of Jim I discovered pretty early on. I was still in junior high, so I can't pinpoint a year for you, but I was still in junior high. I was born in 1973, so you do the math. And I remember in one of the art classes, one of the Jim books had Frank with a hand poking into the frame and a pencil lifting up his lip. So we had to do a self-portrait. So I painted that, and behind Frank, I had a mirror, and it was my face in the mirror as if I was the one putting the pencil into Frank's mouth. I wish that painting actually stayed with us at my parents' house for quite a long time. Next time I'm over there, I doubt it's still around. I highly doubt it because I haven't seen it in fucking decades. But I'm going to ask and see if maybe they've got a box of some of our stuff down in the basement. I kind of hope I find it, as scary as that will be to see something from way back then. I kind of hope it still exists somewhere. Needless to say, Jim Woodring had a absolutely long-lasting impression on me. His storytelling, his visuals, the dreamlike quality of everything. And it sounds like that's a phrase that gets overused, especially when you're looking at kind of 90s independent artists. They're pulling from their real lives and they're pulling from their dreams. Like every single one of their dreams has some deep-rooted meaning. And just by putting it on the page, that's going to have that come across to the reader. It just ain't the case for a lot of them. I would say for Jim Woodring, that is abso-fucking-lutely the case. There's something that he presents in this that's kind of like an unspoken. I mean, look at this line work here. It's beautiful, beautiful shit, man. I could look at his stuff forever and be completely happy. What was I saying? There's something about his ability to tell these stories and present these scenarios that really do allude to a bigger mystery that you feel that you want to unfold. And I think it's also to do with the fact that he did this and was kind of true to this for so long. So he's created this body of work that all of it has these reoccurring is the word I'm looking for, reoccurring characters and situations that there starts to become a story about the world. And like he said in the documentary, the world of Frank is more the main character. The world itself does things to the characters. The world itself interacts with Manhog when he does something bad or whatever it is, right? So it's a form of like punishment and pleasure. Anyway, I could talk about Jim forever and a day. I can't imagine at this point the 17 of you that continually watch these and comment don't know Jim Woodring. But for those of you stumbling across this video, if you don't know Jim Woodring, Mr. Burgles, check out Jim Woodring, man. You'd love it. So check it out. Absolutely have a look at it and see what's good for you. And I'll just kind of show the covers on the rest of them. Like I said, I could spend the next hour talking about Jim Woodring and we could go through all sorts of stuff. This is the All Frank issue. And if you see anything, do not hesitate. As much as I said that there's reoccurring characters, it's not the kind of thing where you have to start at the beginning and get all of the issues. Just pick anything up. Anything that you see of Jim Woodring's, just grab it and give it a shot. I guarantee you there will be something there. If any of this appeals to you, I guarantee there will be something there in that comic that you pick up that you'll love. And of course, check out Fantagraphics. They've got a bunch of stuff of his. I don't know if the Frank book is still in print, but you can check out lots of Woodring stuff on Fantagraphics website. Put these down over here. I got to clean up down here, man. What else? Did that one. I think we might be onto the stuff that I didn't talk about today. Oh no, one more thing here. Sorry. One more. Let's get the banners ready. So I do want to give a shout out to La Santa Muerte Comics on Twitter. There's the name spelled down there. I don't know how the fuck. Well, hey, you know what? Why don't I try to be really extra fancy? I'll let that open and we'll see if I can copy and paste the link to his channel down in the chat for everybody. Now that I got two things running here, he messaged me, I don't know, a few weeks ago at this point and said, hey, I want to send you a stack of stuff. I'm contacting a group of people that I know on Twitter that are comics, like from my comic circle. And I want to send you a bunch of comics. Shoot me your address and I'll put together a care package for you. Who am I to say no to that? So I immediately said yes. And here we have a bunch of comics from him. Sorry, give me a sec here. Let's get that link for you all. Do this, copy, and we will paste it right there. Look at that. Boom. Fucking technology. If that even shows up. Yeah, there it goes there. Okay. So he said he would send out some comics, and I absolutely said, yes, please do. And just the other day, a stack of them came in with a nice handwritten note as well, with a drawing on the bottom. And this is what he sent me. 6 different books from 3 different series. So 2 books from his Deranged Tales series. This is Deranged Tales number 3 and Deranged Tales number 4. If you follow him on Twitter, you can also see he posts a lot of his comics as well on his Twitter feed. Recently, though, he's been posting a lot of stuff that he's been reading. But if you dig into it, he talks a lot, or he shows a lot of his comics, and it feels like he's kind of a machine at this point. There's a lot of comic output, which is fantastic. And then this other one is the La Santa Muerte character. This is Fear of God. I don't know which issue number this is. This is chapter 5, says in the inside cover. And then this is the thickest of them all. This is La Santa Muerte Inc. And this is chapter, is this 6? Let's see here. Oh no, chapter 9. So, hey ho, Chaos and Comics. This is chapter 9 here. So this is the stuff that he still had available. This is the stuff that he said that he's most proud of, this Santa Muerte stuff. He loves, obviously, he's proud of the other stuff he's done, but these are the books that he's most he spends the most time on as far as scripting and kind of getting going. And then finally, these are the 2 that I read. Yeah, you absolutely can. That would be fantastic. I'll set you up a room in the corner down here, and a dish with some water in it. So this is the Terror Twins, 2 issues here. These are the first ones that I read. These were a total blast, a lot of fun. He's one of those writers and one of those comics creators that it just feels like he has a blast with this stuff. This is for him, and it just so happens that other people like it as well. He seems to have a lot of fun. And he said this is another one where he does spend a bit of time kind of on the scripting stage, but then when it comes to putting the story together, drawing it all out, he sort of sets limitations. I think this issue, for example, he just did in 3 weeks. He just polished it off really quick. And these are thick books here. And this one has the added bonus. I showed it this afternoon too, but let's get that on there as well. Dr. Uncanny. Beautiful. Super fun. Violent. Drinking. Drugs. They're rappers as well too. So in this particular issue, they go to their kind of local bar. The owner is going away on a trip, and he leaves one of their friends in charge, and they say, hey, why don't we help you? We'll bring some money in. We're going to do a rap battle. And it kind of goes from there. and these spirits of these old dead rappers kind of take over their bodies, and that's when we get our Doctor Strange type of guy coming in to kind of exorcise them. We get some werewolves in here as well, and they're such a good time, man. They read really nicely. I really like this stuff quite a bit. I mean, I've liked his stuff for a while from reading it on Twitter, but it's so great to have some copies for myself too. So check them out at the link that I put in the chat there, and hit him up for, oh, and where's this? Yeah, so he also sent me, now I don't know how much he still has or how often he prints these up, but reach out to him. He also sent me a couple of posters for some shows that he did these posters for. So that one there, a Halloween poster, and then this one. I love this one. Look at that. Amazing stuff. Really, really amazing stuff. So thank you so much for sending that stuff out to me. I mean, it's one of the absolute bonuses of social media and kind of having this channel. It hasn't happened a lot where people have sent me things. I would never stop you from doing so if anybody out there is interested. And then next week, somebody else had reached out to me as well too. I'm not ready to talk about this yet, but they sent me a copy, a review copy, specifically said review copy for this book, this absolute beast of a book. And this looks fucking bonkers as well too. But like I said, I haven't read it yet. So I'm going to be tackling that this week. And I will tell you what the heck is going on. So this one we'll be talking about next weekend there. So it was, and I apologize in advance for butchering names. Elytron Frass, Elytron is the first name, and then Frass. And then this is called Vitiators, I guess. So that's what we'll talk about next week when I dig into that one there. Okay, so that's all the stuff that I talked about today during the chat. So why don't we dig into, this is still going. This is Mad Balls versus GPK versus the Garbage Pail Kids. This is issue number 4. And I mean, again, another one I'm not going to talk a whole bunch about. You know, I love it. This is just the same as the other ones. The one thing I am disappointed in this series, as much as I'm still enjoying it, I wish that what they did with the previous Mad Balls one is they had a bunch of different artists. It was kind of different artists every single issue. And I really liked that because they had some really crazy, wild artists involved with this. And I think this kind of title really lends itself to more of that bonkers indie indie and kind of self-published type of art style. So this one is the same artist and creative team throughout the whole thing. I think this is only I think this was the final issue. It's still fun, but if I was to recommend any, the Star Comics from Marvel would be the one I would recommend. And then the one, and it was from, I can't remember now, was it Lion Forge that did the previous one? I actually don't remember who did the previous Mad Balls book, but that's the one that I would recommend over getting this one. Unless you're a hardcore fan, then absolutely you need all of them. Kaya from Wes Craig. I gave this a shot. So Damien had talked about Kaya last weekend, and it intrigued me. I know Wes Craig's art. I think he's got a really beautiful style. This is the first book that he's done everything on, from what I understand. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong about that. This is issue 1, and it looks like this is going to be something that happens on the issues as well, too. A little blurb up front leading you into the book, because when they showed the preview of issue number 2, it was the same thing. I kind of dug this setup here. I feel like it's a guy, again, it's this, he just worked on however many issues of Deadly Class, pretty goddamn heavy stuff. I imagine being in that mindset when you're drawing this stuff, reading these scripts for the however many years that's been going now. What was it, 2014? Is that when the first Deadly Class came? Yeah, he absolutely, he absolutely was. Oh, where did you go there? All you guys commenting at once. That's fantastic. Don't stop doing it. But trying to highlight Chris's there. Damien was lukewarm on it, but he was lukewarm on Twig too, and now is fond of it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. Like, he wasn't kind of sold on this one in a big way, but the way he described it and the pages that he showed, I was still pretty intrigued. I don't know if I disagree with him. It really does kind of feel like something that's maybe for like a YA audience so far. But I mean, we'll see, right? Like, that could take a twist. I love the art in here, and I love the coloring in this. I really had a good time with this. I feel like it's a good setup. We get to know our characters a little bit here. We get to introduce to their world. I'm definitely going to be picking up the next issue, probably two. I may just stick with it. I'm going to wait, though, a couple of issues and then maybe reread it with my daughter. This might be a fun one to read with her. But I want to give it a couple more issues first before I kind of head down that road with her. Like, look at that there. So I think it's going to be fun, but we'll see. To find a new home, brother and sister must survive a dangerous journey across a world of mutants, monsters, and robots. And of course, there's all the praise there, which we know is absolutely legitimate. Kaya kind of reminded me a little of Juniba's Gelia. Again, pronunciation, apologies. I don't know that book. I will look out for that there, Rick Ray. I can see that, Chris. I can see that looking like a trade pre-order. I can absolutely see that. So yeah, I dug that. And I mean, these days, my pull list, now that Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids is done, now that Shaolin Cowboy only has one more issue, I mean, at 204 Comics, I think I only have one book on my pull list. And I think at Galaxy, I maybe have 4 books on my pull list. So I could probably add this to one of those pull lists without much of an effect, since I'm not picking that much up on a monthly basis anyway. While Chris is here, let's talk about this one, because I fucking loved this book. Again, another one that was a bit of a surprise. It didn't start off the strongest, but by the time I finished the first issue and got into the second issue, I was more sold. And then by the time I was into the third issue, done for. No, this Shaolin Cowboy was always supposed to be 7. His first series was 7, and then the next 2 miniseries were 4, and this one was always supposed to be 7 issues. Cherry fucking Blackbird. Man, is this an... Yeah, X-Men. Yeah, exactly. X Factor. This one is actual blast. Chaos in Comics. Chaos in Comics is Chris there, Sean. This was so much fun, and I the thing that I really loved about this one, well, I mean, there was a few things I loved about this one. The first being kind of page 3, where the devil comes bursting out of this guy's asshole and presents himself on the next page here. We got work to do. Let's get out there. So as much as I loved that intro, I just didn't think that it was actually going to amount to much of anything. And I was completely wrong. This is a total blast. This feels like one of those 86 comics. If this was black and white, the art is really rough if you look at it at times. And I love that about it. The story is just bonkers. It's drugs, drinking, there's punk rock, there's demons from hell that she has to go and now kind of contain and send back to the pits. She has 365 days to do it. And this is an absolute blast. This was so much fun. I was only going to read the one issue and then kind of the next night read another one. I finished this one and I immediately picked up the second and then immediately the third. I read them all kind of back to back and went for it. Maybe Chris, if you're still here, how many is this supposed to go? What do we got here? Because I see this one is a second print from 2021. And then, oh yeah, this issue 3 is from September 2021. So how many issues did this go? Because I'm going to have to keep my eyes out. Cherry Blackbird is nuts. I got it A-OK to me by Carolina Crisp, but the smaller indie version. Oh, nice. To be honest, I considered sending it to you in 2019, but I'm so lazy with that stuff. Oh, there you go. So there was a smaller indie version. Well, that's kind of good to know. This is, and again, like Black Caravan, they're a Scout Comics imprint. They do an absolutely bang up job with these covers. They're gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. I had it in a graphic novel with smaller dimensions. Kate, Cthulhu Hand Luke, how the fuck are you? Rick Ray, I think it was 5 issues. Amazing. Whoops. What do I do there? What did I do? There we go. Okay. Sorry. I want to make sure I don't accidentally fuck something up again, punching stuff in on this phone. So this is just what it is. It's not apologizing for what it is. This is embracing that side of things. You know, like a book like Heavy Metal Drummer did. There's no allusions to anything grander than this. This is just a fun book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to grabbing more of this. I was at 204 this afternoon because they had an even crazier sale on today. And I took another dive into those cheap bins because books that were 50 cents were now 25 cents, etc. So I had to look through the bins again to see if they had any more of these tucked away. Nothing, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like the art, I would say that you won't like the story either. Again, this is a book that this is what it is. It's not, there isn't anything, there isn't anything under the layer, and which is fine by me, man. And I think that's a good way. Not that compelling, to be honest. It's more of a B-movie horror book. Absolutely. I would agree with that. Embrace it and you'll have a good time with it. So that was fun. I'm glad I gave it a shot. So that is Cherry Blackbird, Joseph Schmalke's Cherry Blackbird. And maybe we'll go to Tales from Harrow County. So another one that I picked up from the 204 sale they had last weekend, or keep extending the sale anyway. It's a tight fit in this bag. What the hell is that about? There we go. I've read the first volume of Harrow County. Felt the same way about his We Don't Kill Spiders series. Dumb fun. Oh, good to know. I'll check that out. No, not the same. That Heavy Metal Drummer was Behemoth, and different creative team. I wasn't as sold on the art in that one. It was fun enough, and I finished the series. It didn't kind of blow me away, though, that Heavy Metal Drummer. That said, though, they are going to do a second volume. I'm sure that I'm going to give it a try. It was fun enough for me to kind of finish it and go with it. It didn't blow me away. This one, this Cherry Blackbird, I think is kind of a more fun than Heavy Metal Drummer. Maybe going in a direction that I wished Heavy Metal Drummer would have gone or would have leaned into a little bit more, as the kids say. Yeah, that's right. And then that Cherry Blackbird was Scout Comics, or Black Caravan, rather. So I really like Volume 1 of Harrow County, and the thing that this series made me realize is that I need to continue reading Harrow County. This was okay. It didn't kind of grab me. All it made me realize is that there's a whole hell of a lot of story here that I'm missing. I'm glad I picked them up because they were dirt fucking cheap. So I'm glad that I at least have them. Damien was telling me that it's one of the classic Dark Horse Comics moves where this might be like volume 3 of the Tales from Harrow County. It's just that they do these different volumes and start the numbering again. Where's the Where's the small print, my friend? Come on, baby. Where are you? Tales from Harrow County, Lost Ones, number 3. So it doesn't say if it's volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, but this is the 2022 run. I love Tyler Crook's art. I actually caught a bit of his stream. Was that today? Or was that yesterday? I don't remember. Maybe it was yesterday. I caught a bit of his live stream where he was kind of just working on some stuff and just kind of practicing. He ended up drawing a Doctor Strange. I only was able to catch about 20 minutes of it, 15, 20 minutes of it. Got me excited though with Trad Moore's Doctor Strange coming. I asked him that, are you working on something Doctor Strange too? Like, if so, holy shit. He's like, nah, I'm just practicing, just kind of doing a stream and kind of chatting. So it was good to see him kind of create something. He was just doing ink. He wasn't doing any watercolors, or at least not that I saw in the part of the stream I was at. I love his art, and I just need to get back more into this story because that first volume I really enjoyed. So not a bad book by any stretch. I just think that I'll get a lot more out of it once I actually make it to this point in the series. The other one that Damien talked about, after this, we've got just a couple more and we're done. The other one that Damien talked about, and again, I absolutely agree with him. His kind of what he came to the conclusion of with this one. This is Briar issue number 1. This was the other one that when he showed it, I was immediately intrigued. So this is Boom Studios. Let me get the credits for you here. So written by Christopher Cantwell, illustrated by Germain Garcia, colors by Matthew Lopez. There you go there. Chapter 1, Nothing Sharp in Sight. An alternate version of a fairy tale. And again, he was absolutely right that this kind of turns into a goddamn type of story. So the Sleeping Beauty is supposed to be woken up with a kiss. The king that comes to wake her up decides not to kiss her and just takes over the kingdom. And she just keeps sleeping as everything crumbles around her. So it was good to get a little bit of the behind the scenes from Damien, but I'm really glad I picked this one up too. I think this one is going to be a good book in a different kind of way. I do feel like it's leading to something. I can see it going down that goddamn path. And I sort of hope it's got something else in store for us, as opposed to we're just now going to send our main character into all these situations where she's going to fight monsters. They're going to try to rape her. She's going to jump off a building, whatever it is that, you know, kind of really live in that debauchery. I'm hoping that there's something else here. But I really like this issue. I thought this was a solid read overall. We'll see where this one goes. So that Kaya and this one will probably get put on my pull list at 204. So yeah, it's a good looking book too. So not much else to say about that one. And for these two, I don't know if loading the canon. Yeah, the last, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think it was just in the fact of, let's take something that maybe there's expectations. In the case of Briar, it's kind of subverting that fairy tale kind of story where everything works out really well, and instead, oh no, this is how things looked, this is how horrible it is. And now we've got these characters in where Goddamn was similar, where you have these expectations, even though we all know that the Bible is really violent and brutal. But seeing it, you don't often hear it portrayed in that way. It's portrayed in kind of like this fairy tale-ish type of way, and this kind of leading you to a better path. But if you really dig down deep into it, there's a lot of nasty shit that happens, and putting that on the page. I didn't think the second Goddamned arc was the best either. I much preferred the first one quite a lot more, to be honest. But so I can see a little bit of that in Briar for sure. I don't know most of these comic books. I love Sleeping Beauty's animation by Disney. Yes, the backgrounds and all that stuff is just stunning. It's gorgeous. Liked it though, but it was weird, I think is what you're trying to say there, and then makes sense. So loading the canon, if you're still here, this is David Chelsea in Love from Eclipse Comics. Very true. Absolutely. This ran for a few issues. I liked this one. The thing that I liked the most about it, the story itself moved along nicely, following these characters. One of the things I loved the most about it, though, was the use of the pages in this. So this is kind of our main character, David Chelsea, is kind of, I don't know if you'd call him a nerd. I don't really know what you'd call him. He's not quite a loser. He's not the coolest guy in school, but he seems to be, I don't know, he's exploring his relationships. Let's just say that. So he has a number of relationships on the go, and there's a lot of talk about commitment and next steps and things. This is beautiful. There's parts of this that I don't know if it's the texture, I don't know if it's the angle on the characters, but this kind of, it feels to me a little bit like Little Nemo in Slumberland. It kind of has that feel. And like I said, it might be the textures that he's using on the characters, and especially a page like this, the kind of angles that he's choosing to show us. I liked it overall. The story, I'm hoping that it kind of picks up a little bit, but some of the things that he's doing on the page are pretty great. And then when he changes the textures to when this guy is getting it on with his lady friends, extra special lady friends, that change in kind of style is really nice as well too. This was a beefy magazine, but it read really nicely. It didn't feel like a chore whatsoever. And that's always a thing. This is what, 42, 43, yeah, 43 pages of story in this one. It didn't feel like a chore at all. And it's engaged me quite a bit. I want to know what's going to go on next. I kind of want to see where this is going to go. Obviously, when some people that I follow here, in this case, Colin is raving about it from what his memory was when he read it all those years ago. That obviously gives me more incentive to track them down. But yeah, I like this. I like this one quite a bit. Naked ladies. So that was a good one. A nice find too. Again, in my kind of continuing quest of collecting all of the Eclipse Comics books, this is one that I was surprised when it showed up for whatever it was, $1.50, whatever the hell I paid for it. And finally, for tonight, what are we at? 48 minutes. 48 uneventful minutes. That's a good sign. Will Eisner Quarterly, number 8, winning. Yeah, it's true. He's hanging out in the background, waiting for us to talk about good books. This is the final issue of Will Eisner's Quarterly. I thought I had one or two other ones. Turns out I don't. This is the only one that I have. So now I have 7 more to hunt down. I mean, what do you want to say about Will Eisner? It's fucking Will Eisner, man. I liked it. I thought it was great. It was good to see, to read some of his stuff again. It's been a while since I've read some Eisner. So this was a nice one. This first story was pretty great. It's storytelling. Feels like he was trying something a little bit different in this one here. Our kind of main body of the story is happening up here. And for the first few pages, we're getting a sneak peek into where the story is going to come to. And it's our characters that are older. So again, you get kind of these flashbacks, and then you kind of have them interacting again in the present time. So the layups, the setups, and then the final. This is the final page where now they start talking, and now we move into the story. So we've had our backup. Now we're back into the story. It's this gangster who was sent to kill this guy. he fails at it and spends the rest of his life trying to kill this guy, trying to off him. So it becomes kind of very Looney Tunes-ish, not in kind of a slapstick kind of way, but that idea of Wile E. Coyote never catching the Roadrunner. There's a few stories in this one. The next one's called Winning. Oh, that's right. This was the race, right? Yes, this guy pushing himself, his wife, and him telling himself that he'll never make it. He's never going to be able to do it. You've never run before in your life. And just this idea of pushing himself through it, and collapsing basically at the end. The race has been done for hours, and our kind of main character just keeps pushing himself. A nice little story there. Yeah, this was a fun book. And what was the final one? Yeah, The Trial. In 1916, a trial was held in the mind of Franz Kafka. So beautiful, but I mean, look at the work there. Really, really nice. So this was a nice surprise. I don't know the story. So that's right, we were wrong. With this issue number 8, Will Eisner's Quarterly will cease publication, although we will still be publishing Will Eisner's new work on a regular basis. Last issue, we tried a 32-page black and white magazine format. Like this issue, it carried a $1.95 price tag. The idea was to make the work more accessible to readers. The $1.95 move followed 6 issues of the Quarterly as a square-bound magazine with a color section. Oh, wow. The response to the lowered price was underwhelming. While circulation went up a little, it wasn't nearly enough to justify the new format. We had to think of an alternative quickly or cease publication of the title. So there you go. That's why it got canceled or ended with this issue there. So great stuff. I actually found some kitchen sink spirit books today for $0.25 a piece. So I filled in some gaps of that. So I'm going to be going through those tonight and probably sit with those. That's it. I feel like I talked about this one to death in the chat yesterday when I was going through the haul. And then we talked about it today as well in our afternoon chat. So if you want to know more about Your Short, Bald, and Ugly Charlie Brown, search it up on the internet and tack in Chester Brown, Joe Matt, and Seth's name with this, and you'll find all the information you need about this book. With a bunch of one of the articles I found had a bunch of pages from this mixed in with the article too, so you could get a good sense of the stories in here. Super fucking funny, super great. Another highlight from the week of reading. And I think, as I look around, I think that's it, my friends. Yes, that is indeed it. That was my week of reading. Yeah, I hear that. I totally hear that. I can absolutely accept that. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We're going to be on Damien's channel next week for the Sunday chat, so hope to see you there. And like I said, Chaos and Comics, message us if you want to come on. Let's get you on for a Sunday chat. All right, everybody, take it easy.